All right, we ready, gang?
Are we recording?
Yeah, it's pretty wide here. I would get like another camera angle if we can, but
Is it just of this screen up here?
is that of that screen? You can see it. It's like in the front. Yeah.
Is that what you want though?
Yeah,
I
of
want this
that
camera
of that
angle, too.
screen. I'll be like here, and then basically that'll be kind of like you guys are seeing what I'm doing.
Okay.
And then
So
like
you want me to move it closer?
which one?
The camera?
That. Well, I do want to capture like the whole room. So
Okay.
You just want
yeah.
another angle.
Yeah.
What can we do?
But it's cool though if we can't, if we can't do it.
I mean, honestly, I could roll in if you have a card in this.
Check 1, 2. Yep. I've got CFast cards.
You?
Yeah.
You are.
You go. I'm sure you could just format that shit.
You should. You sure?
I'm turning my phone off during when I'm in Chicago, so.
No, please. We need you to be working remotely. Reverse the days.
I literally planned this like 3 months ago too. It's like, and I told them literally, hey guys, maybe you want to think about maybe shooting while I'm here, and they're like, oh yeah.
My vacation is good.
Yeah, me too.
July.
Mine's June. I'm out of here.
Want me to roll on the wall one?
Yeah, go for it.
It's a little close, but. Oh boy. Oh, let's see how down.
Do it.
Alrighty.
Crashed.
What, Unreal?
Yeah. Epic Games Launcher crash reported.
Do you want to
it's-
just come over here, Mac?
That's fine.
Mac.
I'll come back there, yeah. I'm gonna sit there first.
Okay.
We're looking at your computer right now.
Yeah. So this is my mouse right here. Cool. I guess I'll start with like the interface. So I had you guys all install Unreal 5.6. Unreal is a game engine designed by Epic Games. They're the manufacturer of this. So it actually sits in the same launcher as their normal video games that they've developed, or if they've used Unreal Engine, it sits in this launcher. So there's actually a bunch of tabs where you can like install your favorite games. So of course you've got your classic Fortnite, and then over here they have a bunch of different games that have also been made with the engine or not. So anyway, this is the launcher for that. Unreal happens to share the same pathway, right? So they actually have their own tab here called Unreal Engine, and it takes you right here.
If you have the launcher installed.
Yeah, basically. So like I actually have, to Lucas's request, I have Fortnite installed.
Okay.
So if I want
how well
to.
does that run on a MacBook?
Well, I think it should run okay. I think you'll probably experience like some sort of like lag at some point,
What
because
about
it's.
Cyberpunk's 2077?
Oh, definitely not. I know Cyberpunk like cleaned up a lot of stuff, but like I know that game in general was like super hard to run on anything.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't count on it. But yeah, no. So you could like, install your favorite games, but Unreal Engine also happens to sit here. Some other games that we've been using Unreal Engine for its creation process: Until Dawn, The Witcher. Even games such as Ready or Not, or I think the SpongeBob SquarePants like remake. Here you go, Titans of the Tube. This was made with Unreal Engine. So you look into it. Like this is a game engine that's pretty recent, but a lot of studios use it. And a game engine essentially is just the inner framework for how a video game is made. So it covers things from the creative, from how is a character designed, to how do they move, to when this character, let's say it's like a shooting game, if I shoot the enemy, what happens afterwards? Like how does my score get calculated? And so this game engine basically takes care of all that on the front end, but it also works as like a design tool. And Unreal has gotten really popular over the course of the years because of its way of being able to generate super photorealistic, high fidelity graphics that no other game engines will be able to compete with. A lot of games in the world, or gaming companies, sorry, what they'll often do is make their own engine, and then that engine will be kind of used in the games that they make. But Unreal actually, they source their engine to developers. So if you're a developer, you actually can use this for free, make independent content, but then even as a studio, you would pay a license to use this and then be able to publish your games on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, that sort of thing. So yeah, this is the interface. You got a couple tabs here. The news tab essentially just tells you what's kind of new and upcoming with the engine. So I'm actually going here. The State of Unreal meeting is sort of like their TED Talk presentation and everything coming new. So I'm actually going to that next week. So it's kind of cool that they have this banner up here. But yeah, they have a bunch of different articles that tell you kind of like what's the latest status. So 5.7 is kind of like the newest engine, right? So they'll show that on the blog. You've got a couple of different sample projects that you can use. So you have a game animation sample all the way to like, if you're a car person, you can definitely do some like car renders with it. So you've got a car configuration sample here.
Sick.
This one right here.
Oh, Meerkat demo?
Yep, you had a Meerkat demo as well. And I think this one was actually about like 3 years ago. They were trying to show off like hair and fur simulations and stuff because that was like a big deal. Yeah, you've also got a couple of game starters as well. So you don't have to start from scratch, which is kind of the nice thing, is that they give you a lot of different templates to work on.
So like these are templates to like a pretty much a functioning game, and a lot, like, you know what you're doing, you can make changes and customize it and create upon that.
Exactly, yeah. So that's pretty cool. And you can definitely use that too just for like education purposes, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's the samples tab. Here's your library. This is kind of where you're going to spend a lot of your time when you're making these sorts of projects. Most of the time when we work here, obviously, it's a lot of it is really just me making the project, and then you guys will probably be handling it in disguise. But I'm showing you this as well because like there might be the off chance that like maybe you need to open the project in the launcher, right? Yeah. So by showing you this is kind of like giving you some details about how to open it in the back end. So we have over here is your versions for the engine. We work in 5.6.1, and the reason we don't work in 5.7 is because it's kind of similar to like when you update your MacBook and all your applications don't use that same operating system. So you want to use the most recent but not the latest version because any sort of plugins that come with third-party software, so like Disguise for instance, there's no guarantee whether it'll work with the most recent release. However, if you ever wanted to just tinker around, they will show like previews, which is basically beta samples of like the latest version, and that will showcase like new features that they've released, right?
So as long as we don't use the preview version, like the beta version, any version below that, we're good to use. So like 5.7.4.
I would say for our purposes, 5.6 is kind of like the latest we want to use.
And
but
then if we went back further into legacy firmware versions, would that, at a certain point, would that pose the same potential like communication issue inside of D3?
It would for us, just because that's what we have everything sort of configured to, workflow-wise.
So we really want to stick around 5.6.1 until we know that the next version is like vetted and solid. Exactly.
Yeah. The previous versions will work. It's just that when you downgrade, it's kind of similar to like downgrading your DAW or something, where you're not sure if things will like load in, and you sort of have to be specific about where things are located for it to work. So I would just say like a simple rule of thumb, just stick with 5.6.1. And then if you ever wanted to tinker around with the other versions, you're totally welcome to do that. But for production purposes, like stay with that version. You guys have pretty much installed most of it, but I'll take you through the process of installing anyway. So let's say that I want to install 5.5. When you click install, it'll show you the location of where you want it stored. Typically, I like to keep it in the default state. So on Windows, typically this is your C drive, but I believe on Mac, it was in your shared projects folder. So I would just stick with that. It will create this sort of path for you, and then you also have a bunch of different options of stuff that you want to install. I'll just kind of go through basics of what this is, but like your core components are basically the bare bones stuff that's needed to run the engine. Your starter content is content that you can use to start building your game. So it'll include a bunch of different like meshes, textures, materials, that sort of thing. Templates and feature packs is the same thing that you saw in the samples tab, where if you need to work off a template, like a first-person shooter template, you can install that. Engine source, again, is all of your source content for the engine, and then editor symbols for debugging. This is really mostly for programmers and coders. Unreal Engine is built off of C++, so anything that you see visually is being run off that code. So this is really useful if you're like developing your own games and you want to implement your own code or plugins, because then Unreal will be able to show what those symbols are, and then you can debug or troubleshoot anything that you want.
Question.
Yeah.
For our purposes, the template and feature pack, if I just need for storage reasons, if I can skip that installing, or do you work off of some of the templates that we're going to use?
I would say you could skip it, but and the reason I say that is just because we have our own templates that I've built here. So if for whatever reason, like you ever want to design your own project, right? Your Unreal project, then I would just give you like a template to work off of.
Okay.
You know.
All right, I just want to make sure this works. Ryan's teaching me.
Cool. So we have other target platforms. This is again mostly for developers, but like if you were developing a game that wasn't for like PC, like mobile or VR, this is kind of like where you would choose a platform. It doesn't really apply to us, so I'm just gonna skip that. But that's kind of like your installation options that you have. And then when you're ready, just click install. That'll show a little progress window here, and then once it's ready, it'll be blue. However, when it is finished installing, there is one more step you have to do, and so you probably want to do this now. If you click launch, it will show a yellow text that says prerequisites. This is installing all of the necessary code that's needed to run the engine before you open up any projects. And if you don't click that button, it actually will cause some issues on your first load. So I would say make sure you hit that first before you launch the engine.
Which button?
It's just when you click open or launch, it should say prerequisites. If it doesn't, that's totally fine.
Okay.
But okay. And so when you open, you are now brought to the Unreal Project browser. It showed a splash screen as well of it loading, but once it's done, it'll show you into the project browser. And then here you have some other tabs. You have a recent projects tab. This shows you the recent projects that you've opened, if you've opened any of them. You have your different templates as well. So you had sample projects, but then you have like blank templates as well that Unreal just gives you. So you have a blank project, a first-person shooter project, a third-person game project. You have a top-down, so if you are doing any sort of like top-down MMOs or something like that, that would be your template to use. Handheld AR, so this is like augmented reality with your phone. So he's got like a little mannequin on a table that is kind of linked to where your phone is looking through. Virtual reality, so if you have an Oculus or a Meta Quest headset, you could actually make Unreal games for it. Vehicle simulator, this is like if you were doing any sort of like racing games, dune buggies, Forza lookalikes, that sort of thing. So you can see it's very gamey because it's in the games tab. But if you go to the film, video, and live events tab, this is kind of where it falls more in relation to what we do. So we have a literal template. It's called the virtual production template. It has things like SDI video, live compositing, and the ability to cast onto projectors or LED walls. DMX, which controls any sort of lighting. So if you're doing any show control previews or previs for like upcoming shows. So this would be like a great example of like if you had a concert, for instance, and you want to do lighting, then they have their own DMX template that you can actually pipe real DMX through, which is kind of cool. In-camera VFX is probably the one that relates to us the most, which has a bunch of different blueprints, VFX workflows, that sort of thing. Motion design is very similar to Cinema 4D or anything where you need broadcast graphics. So anything that you're like doing with Graps, for instance, they actually have their own motion design template. I know you want to get away with it, but
Okay.
but they do have a template for that now. And I'd actually say this the motion design stuff is really, really cool. So if you ever want to look into it, it's there. And then NDisplay. NDisplay is basically Unreal's version of Disguise render stream. So if you actually never wanted to use Disguise, you still have a way of casting an Unreal project onto an LED volume, and that's how you do it. I'll get into it some other day. This is what I used to primarily use throughout all of my different jobs is through end display. And so Disguise is a little bit more robust and kind of an additional layer to introduce like media playback and stuff like that. And then I'm just going to breeze through these. Architecture. So Unreal is being used as well by like people who make different types of architecture rendering and stuff, real estate, that sort of thing. So they have different types of design configurations for interiors, exteriors, stuff like that. And then, like I said, you have automotive as well. So if you're working as a car designer for like Rivian or you know, Porsche, maybe even some of the sports cars, right? So then you would go into this car configurator, put in your car model, and then start kind of lighting it as if you would for different renders. And then you can use that as like your own commercial shots for print, photo, that sort of thing. And then you have simulation. This is just again like going over stuff that you would have AR, VR. Simulation work is primarily used by our government and military. So if they ever want to simulate vehicles, terrain, that sort of thing, they would have Unreal Engine be used for that sort of thing as well. So you can see that Unreal Engine, you know, aside from being primarily used in games, has a lot of different applications to this day, which is really, really fascinating. And so obviously we won't really get to dive into those, but it's definitely cool to have the time to kind of go into this a little bit more. What's up?
Getting an error message when I try to launch.
Okay, let's see what it says.
This text code not found.
Did you get the same error, Mac? Like say.
No, sorry, unrelated, but I just need a quick answer. What is your commute time to work? Mo was asking.
About 2 hours.
Holy Jesus Christ.
God dang.
Yeah, I have any guesses on what Rashawn's is?
I would say probably
Probably
the
the same,
same,
right?
same, yeah.
2?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Oh, that's not fun. I guess I gotta sign in with an Apple account. Do you guys remember the Apple account that we have for the App Store?
No, I don't think I ever had the credentials.
I didn't either.
Damn. Okay. I might not be able to get Unreal ready on the system then. Do you mind just following along with like
Yeah,
Mac
yeah,
or
yeah.
something? Okay, sweet. Sorry about that.
Can I just watch this? Or?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay. Cool. Let's see what else is there. I guess to start off with, I'll just start up a blank project and go from there.
Blank.
Yep.
Let's make it a complex simulator. Let's make a Mark F role playing game.
I think he has one.
I'm sure he does.
So let's see here. So yeah, where you save your projects, I think, is an important process. You can save it in the same drive as your engine install, but Disguise has recommended that you save it on the D drive. Again, this is really not pertaining to you guys. It's more pertaining to me because everything's going to be stored in this computer. But I usually keep it in D, and then what I'll do is I'll create my own Unreal Engine path, and then these are the different versions that I have installed, right? So 5.6, and then I have different categories as well of like where I store the projects. And so since this is like a testing project, I'll put in here. And then usually to keep everything organized, I have like today's date and then like a code word, and then ending in that is 5.6 because that's like the version that we're in. Unreal has this really weird naming thing where it's like it won't allow you to start a name with a number. It has to be a letter every time, and it won't allow you to save a name that's longer than 14 characters for some reason. It's very unique and it's a little bit frustrating. So as long as you stay within that, it shouldn't be a problem. But for now, I'm just calling it P260610 because that's today's date. And I'll just call it like, I don't know, test 5.6.
A letter and 14 characters.
It needs to start with a letter.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just start the project with like 1, 0, 2 or something like that, you know?
Project with P, something.
Exactly, yeah. Well, it can be anything. You can even just call it project, right? I'm just saying for like organization purposes, like that's kind of how I name things.
I think it's a good structure.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Lucas,
Yo.
every single day, one of your new tasks is to either clock us all in
When you get here,
Nope.
I gotta be like, oh, Nick's here.
Yeah.
Gotta go over to the iPad.
That'd be
Yeah,
Or
fun.
just every day,
As we come in.
no matter if you're here or not.
Right.
Then the meeting next month is, why do you all clock in and clock out at the same exact time?
Never separate.
All right.
Okay. This is familiar. I remember
This is
when we
familiar,
went
yeah.
through some of this.
Yeah. So this is like the blank level, and then if you notice, like it's got like a checkerboard pattern.
I see the controller icon.
You do, yeah. So I'll explain first by like talking about like sort of the GUI, because I think that's pretty important. Is it kind of too small for you guys, or can you like?
No, it's cool.
Okay, great, awesome. Okay, so this is the Unreal Engine default window. Similar to Premiere, you have the ability to kind of customize where you want things to go. So if you want different tabs, you can absolutely drag and drop, according to where you want things. But in terms of like what to actually focus on, there is a lot of menus. So I'll take you guys down one by one, right? So over here is kind of like your main viewport. Your viewport is essentially a wide camera that basically allows you to navigate through your 3D scene in all directions. You can see that I'm able to move side to side, up and down, and then go up, forward, backward, rotate. And how I'm navigating this is you can actually do it 2 or 3 ways. The first way is you middle mouse click. That takes you left and right, and it also takes you up and down. You can
So you're middle mouse clicking and then moving the mouse.
Exactly, yeah.
Gotcha.
Since you're on a trackpad, it's a little bit difficult, but if you had a mouse, like, which I highly recommend for any Unreal applications, like this is one way of doing it. It's pretty similar to how you would do it in 3D space. And then the other way you could move is if you right click, that will allow you to rotate up and down and side to side. Basically think of this as panning, and then this is trucking, booming, and then your left click is your dolly, or your, dolly, yeah. So dolly forward, dolly backward, and then you can also rotate.
I could be skipping ahead.
What's up?
I could be skipping ahead, but it's giving me Blender vibes. But
Yeah.
Could you also do? Could you also track with your camera that you have in Unreal? So like, is there a So you can fly with the camera.
Yeah. So that's the other way I guess you could move. So if you right click and then you use the WASD keys, WASD. So if you've ever played like PC games before, it should feel familiar.
Right.
You can go forward, backward, side. Your Q and E keys go up and down. And then, you could absolutely, which I'll get into because there's a specific camera actor that you could use to pilot. So that'll be really cool. But also similar to Blender, you do have the ability to view different perspectives. So this is your perspective camera. This is kind of like, if you were to think of your eyes as a camera, this is kind of what it would look like. But you also have the option to view it from like a top angle. So this is what it would look like. And it's all kind of weird because you're seeing it in wireframe mode. Wireframe mode just basically means that you're seeing everything in grid lines. Kind of think of it as like a blueprint. To switch that, all you just got to do is go to here. This is your view modes. You have a bunch of different view modes. Lit is going to be your default one. So if I switch it to lit, you'll actually see that now it matches what we saw in the perspective cam, right? So you have a white floor, a blue sky, that sort of thing. So now they match. But then you also have different view modes as well. Like if you want to see it without lighting, that's what it would look like. There's a whole bunch that I'll get into more here. But I did just want to show you. So you have your top, you have your bottom. So now we're looking at the bottom of the floor. You have your left. So left, which is a little bit hard to see. There we go. So that's like your left view, your right view. And in some cases, it's a lot easier to see it in wireframe mode because then you just have too much information. And then back, front, and then you can just go back to your perspective, right, if you want to go see everything again. That's the main viewport. Over here, I was just talking about the different menus you have. So here is where you would switch your camera. You also have some other things as well. So you could pilot. So this is what I meant by being able to pilot camera. So, if I had a camera actor in here and I wanted to pilot it, I can click pilot pilot cine camera actor, and now I'm possessing a camera actor in my scene. So you can see that the field of view has changed. I'm a lot less wide, and now I'm looking at it as if I'm looking through like a camera lens, right? When you're not piloting an object, you can hit this eject button. That'll get you back into the perspective mode, and now you're back into the game. Let's see. Over here you have your field of view. This controls your viewport camera, so you can go super wide like this if you, for whatever reason, wanted to.
That's how we should do everything.
Yeah. So it's pretty trippy. Yeah, very psychedelic stuff for sure. But default is 90 degrees. Your near view plane just basically shows how much of your view plane you want. So the closer you are, the less things you'll see. I usually leave this on 10. And then same with the far view plane. It says infinity right now. Although it looks like what it's doing is affecting just the game icons, right? So not actually what you're seeing, but the game icons itself.
If there were other objects in the environment, would you see them being affected by that setting change?
That's a good question. I want to say yes, but I also haven't played with this ability too much, so let's go see. So this is a cube that I have right here.
Or you're just like flying through.
There we go, yeah. It does affect it looks like. So there's the cube, and then it's gone now. So that's kind of cool.
If you were to want to change, so for like the style pod, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna get to this, but my guess is that there's 3 camera actors inside the environment.
There is, but Disguise actually takes control of those camera actors.
So you're changing the perspective inside of the Unreal scene via D3, not like it's not like you're making those changes in Unreal and then like re-render streaming it to D3.
Exactly. What D3 does is essentially treats the Unreal scene as like sort of not an empty scene per se, but a scene where it's just the set, and then the camera actors that are inside, they place like momentary instances, and then those have like the correct data. If we were not using Disguise and we were using End Display, which is like what I used to use before, then you would basically make a different camera actor for each of your physical cameras, and then apply like the different lens values and stuff to each of those.
But an advantage with D3 is that it takes control over those camera actors. You're able to manipulate the perspective of those like camera actors right inside the D3 software.
Exactly, yeah. So you wouldn't have to worry about tracking, for instance, which is another component that would be in Unreal. Stuff like that. So D3 is kind of taking care of that grunt work.
So do you, for that feature alone, do you find that D3 is better than the software that you mentioned before that you've used in the past?
I think so, but I think it comes with a caveat of you have to know where you're looking. So with Unreal, what's kind of the best thing about it is the fact that it's very so if you wanted 3 cameras, you make 3 camera actors, right? So it's kind of like that sort of mindset is kind of how Unreal operates. Whereas like if you go into Disguise, there's a bunch of different menus that you have to sort of navigate to know how to add those cameras, right? Yeah. So it's a different workflow. I wouldn't say one is inherently better over the other. If we're talking about like best value to price, that's a whole different story because Disguise is another cost element, but for sure both of them have their pros and cons. And then quick shortcut if you ever want to undo anything. So if I didn't want to change any of those values, it's Control-Z. So very similar to what you would have in your DAW, your editing software. Control-Z to undo anything that you have in your level. Cool. So let's see what else we got here. So I'll just change this so it's back to infinity. Here we go. So so this is your default view, but you also have exposure and game settings. What game settings means is it basically will hide the icons in your editor viewport and treat it as if you were playing the game. So we call this game mode. To access that with a shortcut, you just hit G. And so G toggles your icons on and off. You also have your exposure settings, which looks like I can't actually control right now, but this would affect like the controller, the exposure of your scene. So in photo terms, like it's an EV value. So an EV value of like 0 would be your default. For some reason, Unreal doesn't really take those like cinematography laws into perspective, and so they've set it at EV 100 at 1.0 for some reason. But anyway, worth noting, there's a way to change your overall exposure anyway, which I would not do through here, so I'll get to that. Default viewport, which basically is your default game viewport, but you also have a cinematic viewport, which basically just means that it's put in a letterbox. So you've got that going on. You also have different film overlays with the cinematic viewport as well. So if you want to like show grids, crosshairs, that sort of thing, could be really useful for previs. Not something that we have to worry about too much. Okay, and so let's see what else we got here. Create camera. This is a good one if you want to create your various camera actors. The camera actor we use is a cinecamera actor. It basically just creates a camera in your scene, and you actually can see that it's even got like its own mesh. But you can see that the camera works like a traditional camera. You can move it up and down in all 6 degrees of freedom, but it also has different things. Like in this area, you can control the focal length. So if you want to go to a 50 mil, you could type 50, and now we're at a 50 mil
Right now
on a
we're in
lens.
perspective view, but you could go into camera activity pilot.
You can, yeah. So if you
and
go,
you'd be actually seeing those focal length settings that you're dialing in over here.
exactly. So if I go back to my perspective tab and I click the Cinecamera Actor 1, so now I'm looking through the camera, right? So now I'm at a 50.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So you can actually like preview actual focal length. So like if you knew the camera you were going to be using in the real world or something, or like.
Exactly, yeah. And you actually have options here to put in like the sensor size. So you could, like, if we wanted to match it to our red Komodos, you totally
could.
can. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's good for previews then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's your frame? I see I know you have it at the top, but where's your? I guess that's render frame rate setting. So it's gonna just be based on how you're flying the camera.
Which one?
Your frame rate.
You see
Oh,
the
this one right here, the FPS?
Yeah.
So that FPS is not camera FPS, it is game
Just the
FPS.
game FPS.
Yeah, so by default, it will max out to 120 frames per second. So not the frame per second of the camera, that's actually controlled in the project settings.
Right.
However, that number is important. That basically dictates the performance of your overall game. So you typically don't want to drop like, 18 frames, because you're going to be running 18 frames a second on your game, right? So yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see what else we got here. Bookmarks. This is a good one. If you want to set bookmarks like similar to D3, you can set a bookmark here. So let's say, Control 1. And then if I move all the way here and I'm like, oh, I want to go back to where I was, you just hit Control 1. Or sorry, I'm sorry, you have to press the number. So I think Control and then the number sets it. So I just set it over here. So now if I move to, let's say, over here to this location, I hit 1. So now I'm gone to my bookmark. It's pretty useful if you have like a big scene and you kind of want to go to different viewpoints. The rest I think are pretty self-explanatory. You have the game view again, which again changes whether or not you see your icons and stuff like that. High resolution screenshot, this is the other one that I use a lot. If I want to showcase like what I'm seeing, this essentially takes a snapshot of what's in your viewport and it saves it in your folder. So here's our screenshot. And so this is what I would send if I was making like a world and I want to like send it to like, let's say the design team and be like, hey, this is what it looks like, right? You could totally do this by piloting the camera as well. So if I were to pilot the camera again, I could go into game view, high resolution screenshot. This controls basically the resolution. So I think by default it's 1080. So if you want to go 4K, it would be 4.0 if you want to put it in the value. I usually keep it at 1 just because it is longer to process. But yeah, there you go. So there's your screenshot. Cool. So that's that menu. Over here you have your different view modes. Like I said, this is really important for like optimization purposes. So you have one, for instance, that's called light complexity. And basically this view mode will tell you whether you have too many lights in your scene that are affecting the performance. So if our scene was like, let's say the FPS was like at 18, if we were to look at this and anything that is white, that's a good sign that like, hey, those things are really affecting how the scene is being rendered. We got to either delete those lights or mess with them in a way where they're not white. So because everything is basically being lit by one light right now, it's all blue, which means like that's good. That's where we want it to be, right? So that's just an example. You have a bunch of different other optimization view modes. I won't have time to get into them right now, but that's what these view modes are kind of designed for, is to kind of help you give different types of perspectives or view modes to kind of see how your scene is doing, how it cooperates with lights, how the meshes are doing, that sort of thing. Over here you have a bunch of settings for performance. This is like preview platforms for different things. If we were doing like Android or iOS development, we don't need to really do about that. But like this viewport scalability one, this one's kind of important. This basically tells you how much you want your scenes to be rendered in terms of quality. So if you ever played any games before, it's similar to like how you go into your settings and then you have like your super high graphic fidelity setting, and then you can like tinker those down if like you're noticing frame drops. This is the same way. So you have a cinematic one, and then if I go to like low, for instance, you'll really see where the difference is. Like we lose a bunch of those outlines. The lighting is pretty flat. But then if we go to cinematic, you know, and once I show like an actual scene and not just a stupid like checkerboard, you'll actually like see that, oh wow, it actually affects like how my scene looks and stuff like that.
What is it? That's preferred to keep it on cinematic or high or epic?
I usually keep it on cinematic because whenever we launch on render stream, it defaults to that.
Okay.
So you typically want to test with that. However, if you're like just working and you need something to be working on, you can absolutely just turn those scalability settings down, work in those, and then once you're ready to like kind of preview what your final scene looks, you can go back to cinematic like quality. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much that for that settings. There's some other things. Screen percentage kind of controls like, again, like how much you want your scene quality to be. I think by default it's 71, but the more that you go in value, the higher the quality is. I typically just leave this as 71. Here's some other settings like mouse sensitivity. So if you think your mouse is like, whoa, it's way too fast, you can like turn that down even more. So now it's like a little bit slower. Same with your zoom speed of like your mouse. So if I wanted to go a little bit faster, I could go up to like 7, and now I'm a lot faster. It's more sensitive, right? Okay, so that's these menus. Then you got these different icons over here, and this is what dictates how you move objects in the scene. So to illustrate that, we need an object first off. So you want to go into your icon over here with the plus button. This is your add actors or place actors tool. And this allows you to summon your basic shapes and lights. So to get a cube, which is kind of like your standard mesh that you would see in Blender, you click this button and then go to Shapes, Cube, and now it's generated a cube in front of you. And you'll see that it has like this, I forget what they call it. I think it's a origin anchor or a pivot actor, I think actually is what it's called. And so it shows a bunch of different arrows, and those arrows move the object in certain degrees or axes. You have an up axis, which is your blue arrow. Your forward axis is your red arrow, and then your green arrow is like your right, left horizontal axis. And I think compared to some 3D programs, they actually have these reversed, where up is Z. In Unreal, it's red is X, green is Y, and blue is Z. So your Z is your vertical axis, and then your X and Y are your horizontal. But in some 3D programs, this is like, it could be different. But that's kind of how you move your object around, is through these arrows. And then you might be asking, like, how do you rotate an object? Well, we have to change the tool that we're currently on, because currently we're on the translation tool. So now we got to go to the rotate tool, which you can get to by pressing E. That changes your arrows into this semicircle. And so now, same thing, you can rotate on each axis individually. And what's cool is that you also have like some snapping, so you don't need to like, judge every time you want to go to like, let's say 90 degrees. However, if you wanted to be a lot more precise, you didn't want the snapping, you have a bunch of these numbers here, and that will control how small you want your snap. So if you didn't want it to be every 10 degrees and you want it to be every 1 degrees, sorry, hit the wrong one. Every 5 degrees. So now I'm moving every 5 degrees instead of every 10. And then if you didn't want snapping at all, you just have to click this blue icon, and that makes it white. And now I'm moving freely. So now you can see it's coming up as decimal points, right? You have the option as well to type these values in manually. So if I didn't like this rotation and I wanted to be at, like, let's say 90 degrees in the y-axis, I could just type. And then similar to disguise, you have the ability to do math in these different values. So if I'm like, I want to do 90 minus 35 degrees, it'll do the math in the field, which is really nice. So if you're doing any sort of measurements, you could just type the math directly in and it'll take care of it for you, which is kind of cool. Unreal works in metric, so it doesn't do feet or inches. You will have to do meters, but in my experience, it's actually a lot easier because you can just use the metric system to kind of calculate how far or how big or far an object is just by like converting centimeters to meters and stuff. But yeah, you have a bunch of different values to change for each axis too. So you could change it, if you want to just move like 100 centimeters to that axis, you could just type that in. And then the last kind of manipulation you have, I guess, with these objects is your scale. So you have movement, rotation, scale. So this is the scale widget, and now it's going to show these kind of like, instead of arrows, it's got like these 3 cubes. And same thing, so if I want to increase it in this direction, I just click and drag, or I can type in here, and here by default value it's 1. So if you want to like make this cube 500, let's say, centimeters in scale, you actually just type 5, and that will kind of increase in that dimension. So it's pretty cool. You can do a lot of different things just by scaling, and you can get pretty quick with it the moment that you play around with some of these objects. So yeah, you have a bunch of different shapes that you can choose from. You have a cube, a sphere, a cylinder, cone, plane, which is just quite literally like a one-sided polygon. And these are kind of meant to be sort of like placeholders. They're not really designed to be like your objects that you're actually making for the scene, right? I'm just using it as an example because what these actually are called actors, and actors are basically they're basically items in your scene that can be manipulated or recalled. And you'll see that these actors actually show up in here, which is called the world outliner. The world outliner kind of showcases what's in your scene in sort of like this list here. And so you'll see that the cube is like showing up, and it's called the cube. It's a type of actor called a static mesh, which essentially means it is a piece of geometry that is in your scene that will take light, right? So you have your cube, floor plane, but then you also have like a bunch of different actors, like your lights, for instance. So we have a directional light actor. So if I go back to non-game mode, you'll see it has a sun icon. It's called a directional light actor because it functions very much like a directional light the same way that a sun would. So if I rotate it directly in this degree, you'll see that's kind of like the sun rotating, and then you can actually mimic golden hour or nighttime by rotating this directional light, right? So pretty cool. You have some other light actors. Your skylight kind of controls sort of like your shadows and contrast. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain how the skylight works, but without it, you kind of lose a lot of like your overall, I guess, dynamic range, I guess is the best way to put it. So if I put it like at 100, you'll see that like we're way blown out because the skylight is just way too intense. So typically I like to leave that at like 1. And then you have your sky sphere. Worth noting, everything that you're seeing here is just in the blank level, in this blank test level. If you were to make an empty level, it wouldn't show. And then just to kind of make sure you guys understand, a level just means it's a collection of all these different actors. So in the same way that you have like game levels, as in like you start out with like level 0, level 1, that's just kind of the same thing going on here, is that you have different levels collecting all of your different actor types, and then you can make different types of like scenes that load into each other, similar to a video game. Cool. That was a lot of information. Does anyone have any questions, or like, do we need a break?
Well, dude, were you recording that?
Yeah.
Oh, my man.
So far,
No, actually, because it's kind of a little bit of a refresher. Some of it's reminded me of what we did learn about Unreal, even though it was limited inside of the
yeah.
For sure.
this guy's training. But I do remember, part of the thing was like we had to, part of the certification or whatever, you had to create this environment that we then render stream into D3. I was like, oh shit, I remember something.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's great that we have it recorded too. That's going to be like a giant help to us.
We'll see. Everything's super wide in those two cameras, so we'll see how it goes. But hopefully the audio is good.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
fun. Like,
Hopefully the audio is good.
I keep saying it. I know it's different, but it's giving me like those vibes. It's like the same type of tools.
Blender?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like adjacent to each other, right?
A lot of the principles do carry over for sure.
Okay.
So I think that's actually what I'm going to get to into next, is sort of like more 3D theory, just so you guys.
I'm 10-1 real quick. I'll be back.
All right, sounds good. I wasn't screen recording though, but it's fine.
Shit. I was recording on the Black Magic.
Okay, word.
We still got
Let's see. This has half battery, so I think we're okay on that one.
Okay. This is the break that Alex used to give us.
Which one?
This is the break that Alex used to give us.
I guess so. Yeah.
Happy days.
Happy-
No, this is good so far. I feel like we're gonna get into some shit. I don't know. I don't know all of this. I'm not about to act like I'm an expert. But so far, like you said, some of the principles.
Wait, you're not an expert?
I thought you were Lucas.
Bro, I got you, bro.
You're gonna do Unreal?
I am on real.
I like that. That was cool. I ain't gonna lie.
Is that tough?
You kinda-
We're recording on?
You kind of did. Nah, see,
Yeah,
now
we
cut
were.
it. Cut the cameras. Huh?
I'll probably have to re-record the first session. That's fine.
So, for StylePod,
Yeah.
are we gonna need this, or is the project already loaded?
The project's already loaded.
So
Yeah.
that's more of learning the disguise part of it?
Which will be Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. Really, my goal with today is to get you comfortable with the engine in case like they ask for anything.
Like a change?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, can we take this chair out or something?
Exactly.
Oh my god, if they do that, bro.
Which they're inevitably going to do. So that's why I want to
Johnny,
teach
bro,
you guys
have
at
to
least.
step up, bro.
Listen.
Talking about all this blender.
Were you paying attention? Oh, you talking about me?
You're gonna have to step up.
You used this before too, no? You told
Take
me.
pictures.
You told me. Turn on real.
Huh?
You told me you've done this before.
No,
What
I
you
said
mean?
I'm unreal, bro.
Oh.
I'm not real, bro.
Yes,
I'm a
sir.
figment of your imagination.
The funny, I mean, yeah, but I also have to fly graphics for the show, so I don't know.
Well, that's why it's like unfortunate too, because like Rashawn and Nick are both out, and they were kind of the people who volunteered to learn this.
To learn it. I mean, shoot, I feel like they can, they could do it. Honestly, for them to fly those graphics, I could show them that is simpler than.
I would agree. Yeah.
Like, they can downstream key a whole bunch of stuff. I'll just be like, the same way you would do it on the A10.
That's why I kind of feel like, which sucks because I really don't think it should be put on you anyway. But like, you are the person who has a little bit of 3D experience, right? So, in a way, it kind of works out. But then, yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, it's just poor planning. Poor planning.
Yeah,
You know?
I think this is what I was dealing with earlier, but I get it. That's why I'm like, I wanna pay attention and make sure I know what's going on. And then if I can't do it, okay, then what? I'm being so serious. No, I'm just wondering. Like, yo, you getting tapped in? I'm like, please help me. I mean, but on set, right? I'm not gonna say there's no way, because people love to find a way to do something.
Yeah.
Hopefully, ideally, they want to have a complete environment that they don't change on site.
Ideally. But it's very common in XR to have people like tweak things all the time.
Okay.
So, for stuff like this, what really happens is like I would actually not even be touching any of these computers, and I would be sort of like a producer in a way where I would like funnel all of those like requests to the operators.
Okay.
Then you have a separate Unreal Engine operator who kind of does make those changes, and then the disguise operator is responsible for like launching on the wall. That's like the ideal skeleton crew. Obviously, we don't have that. So a lot of what we're doing is really far from the industry standard, you know?
Okay.
So, but yeah, like for this, I would say like they kind of probably would want to bake the look in, and then ideally you guys won't have to change anything, but
Exactly.
you know, you never know, right? So that's why I'm at least showcasing you what it would take
Okay.
to do that. So yeah.
Cool.
Also,
Yeah.
this one good.
I need a
Did
minute.
you close the door?
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't.
Come on, Lucas, you're not paying attention, but he's supposed to be second in command.
Paying attention to Max Slim Jim?
Hey.
Pause.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
That wasn't it.
Alrighty.
All right. Dude.
Okay, so we're gonna keep using Unreal, but I do want to go into sort of 3D theory because that does kind of like tie very hand in hand with what you guys are about to work with. There's kind of 4 essential I think assets is the right word.
Okay.
So actors are kind of the things that are going to be in your scene, but when I refer to assets, those are like importing assets, like I guess from your bin. You could think about it in your like editing software, right? There's 4 essential assets that you guys will constantly be working with. So the first is your mesh. Meshes are basically, like I said, geometry that you load into your scene. And in this instance, we have a cube, right? But meshes could be anything, right? So they could be, let's see what we have here in this. Do we have any starter content? I guess we don't. So this is a good segue. So I'm gonna add some starter content to my project, and to do that, all you got to do is right-click in your content browser, click Add Feature or Content Pack, and then you can click Add Starter Content.
My bad, guys. How did you get to your content browser?
You're good. So you do Control and Spacebar to get to your content browser. You can also just left-click this content browser icon on the bottom left. You click that, and then it gets to your content browser. Your content browser is basically like your main source of where everything is going to be. All this other stuff, this is like specialized for if you want to get stuff in Engine. But typically, and I'm not really sure why it's showing this by default, you actually really should only be seeing, there we go. So this is really what you should only be seeing is like your content folder, and then this content browser goes into the content folder like this. So again, to add your feature pack, you just click right click, go to the very top, add feature or content pack, and then this is the templates that I was talking about, right? So you have your first person, third person, vehicle. But if you go to content, that's your starter content. Your starter content just basically gives you a bunch of default like accessories to use. So now if we go open the starter content folder, we have a bunch of different other meshes. We have like this like wall that has a door. We have, if I go to props, we have some chairs now that we can use, so we can design like a little scene. So all of these that you're seeing, the geometry itself is like a mesh, right? So if I go here and I double click this chair icon over here to view the chair, so now I'm looking at just the object as a whole, but this geometry, this chair geometry, like the seats, the armrest, that's all part of like the mesh. Then you have the material. Your material is basically what wraps the mesh together and kind of puts the textures on it. So if I didn't have a material on this, let's see, I think I have like a world grid material or not. Let's see, do I have like basic white? Yes, I do. Okay, so if you didn't have any material, or textures, which I'll get into, your object would look like this. This is kind of what you would imagine in like any sort of 3D program like Blender, like for instance, Jermaine, where you would have like the object without any sort of like color, no texture, that sort of thing. So that's what the material job is. And so I'm gonna load the material again. And you'll notice that like this material has different colors. It's got, you know, a different color for the seats. The armrests are sort of this metallic paint. So how do we tell the mesh what colors we want on it? If we double click the material, you'll see that we have this node tree, and this node tree contains a lot of different nodes. I would not get intimidated by those, because realistically all it's doing is it's taking all of these different colors and it's telling it where it should go to the chair. The material dictates things like the color, but also how shiny an object is. It has a separate metallic slot. Roughness is basically how reflective the material is, like how much light will it shine. So let's see if I can change the roughness base from like 0.5 to 0. See how now it's like super glossy? So you have different options to change that, basically. This is the default, so I usually just leave this unchanged. But you'll notice here we have something that isn't a solid color, and this is what's called a texture. So a texture is basically a 2D image that tells the 3D image where things should be colored in. So you'll see that if you look in this image, it actually has a bunch of different like outlines that are very similar to the shape of the chair, right? You have this sort of curved piece, which is actually mapped to the headrests of the chair. So if we go to another example of like what other textures we have, here we go. So we have same thing, but instead of it being like specific, now we have like this brick texture. So to better understand textures, I think the best demonstration is actually like a physical object, like this cardboard box. So in 3D, it would look like this, right? So this is like your object that has dimension. You can rotate it and you can see all sides. However, the moment that I unfold the box, right, and flatten it out into one cohesive shape, so you'll see now that like if this was a 2D image, you would be able to map textures according to where these certain shapes are, because now it's not like one 3D thing, it's unwrapped. That's how sort of textures are mapped to the object. So
mapped in a 2D way and then converted back into a 3D shape.
Yeah, exactly. So like literally an image of this exact like cardboard texture would be assigned to like one side of the cube, and then so on and so forth with the other sides of the cube, so that when you wrap it back, you get a full shape that looks like this, right? So that's kind of how it works. So think of textures as the source art that has all of the information. The material takes the textures and wraps it on the object, and then the object itself has what's called a UV map that receives the material and knows where things are. So this mesh knows that this seat will be orange, that these armrests will be this metallic paint. So it's a little hard to kind of wrap your head around at first, but the more and more that you kind of interact with these objects, the more that it will sort of make sense. But in a lot of 3D programs, that's kind of how it works. They're called PBR textures, physically based rendering textures.
Okay.
And so, yeah. Another thing too is that these textures, so they're just 2D images, right? Like in theory, if I were to take a photograph of anybody in this room and upload it to Unreal Engine, I actually could use it as a texture. But there is caveats with how sort of like you load in the texture. So all of these, for instance, are displayed in 2048 by 2048. And what that basically means is that all the textures have to be at a power of 2. If you ever played that game on your phone called 2048,
Yeah.
it's basically like that. So you start out with, I think it's 8, and then you go to 16, 32, that sort of thing. So that's kind of how you have to like shape your image in order for it to like load the best way in Unreal. So if we had a picture of, let's say, like Mark Fernandez, right? And we shaped it to be 2048 by 2048, it would load in Unreal, and then you would actually be able to like downscale the image according to how it's mapped to the object. So yeah, That's getting more technical, but like it's kind of how textures work.
So if you were to like want to put a real person's face on like a video game character, that would be a texture that you're wrapping around an object being like the mesh of the character?
Exactly, yeah. So you would make the texture, and then you would create a material that houses that texture, and then the mesh will have data. If you've made the mesh correctly, it will have data that will receive the material, and it will know, oh, okay, this is the face of the character. It's going to be over here, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how it all works. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. So yeah, you've got those three, and then the other core component I would say about Unreal is called a blueprint. A blueprint is basically a node tree, and similar to the material, it works with nodes, but essentially the blueprint is essentially kind of like your code, but thought in a visual manner. So instead of typing direct lines of code in order to have functions, you actually do everything visually through this tree. So what I mean by this is, you have an event begin play node that basically executes the moment that you start your game. But after this, you would have an output connected to it, right? So let's start with like a print string, for instance. So we have a print string node. A print string, basically what it does is it just types in any text that you want the moment that the game starts. And you'll see that by dragging this arrow and typing it in, it's automatically made a connection. So you have your input, which is event begin play, which basically means that every single time that the game is started, I want to print the string hello. So every single time the game starts, hello will appear on my screen. So you hit compile, which compiles the blueprint. And then when you exit, you have a play button here. The play button will basically launch that into game mode. So essentially think of it as if your game has started. You hit play, and now in the top right corner, there's hello. So a lot of games with how they function use blueprints. The blueprints are basically what encompass and is the DNA of like how things work. So if your character wants to move, you have to know, okay, if I press the forward arrow, my character wants to move forward. How do I get it to do that? And blueprints are the way with how that communicates. So really powerful stuff. Where it falls in line with us is that the Disguise render stream plugin has us make certain blueprints in order to accept different things. So if we want to like expose, for instance, the time of day or the power of the sun, and we want to be able to control in Disguise to go from like super bright to like dim, we need to expose that in the blueprint, right? So so those are like the four main components, I would say. That's going to be like your assets, and then the level, I guess, is the fifth one where it has everything. So your level contains all of your different actors and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like a very loose but brief going into sort of more 3D theory. I think probably the best thing to do now is I think you guys should just spend some time flying around the level and getting comfortable with it, and downloading that. What's that?
You get to use the mouse that you got?
I have an extra mouse here, so I can give that to you.
No, I mean like, are you like right now? Are you using that like crazy mouse that you got?
Oh, this one?
Or is that just for when you're in D3?
No, this one. I don't have the plugin installed, but if I had it installed, you could use the mouse in Unreal. So maybe I'll have that set up for Friday.
Sure.
But
let's fly around.
fly around, yeah. I mean, I'll have this station open, and then Mac, you use your computer, and then yeah, just like have fun. I think the starter content is already there, so you could like start to just kind of like build stuff and get familiar with it.
Let me grab a cup of water. I'm gonna use your computer.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I
somebody
think
can go before me.
mine kept crashing.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I think maybe we'll just like all be at yours.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want me to stop this recording?
Yeah.
Up here.
Actually,
And then this will do like if you ever wanted to make keyframes, like say you were doing like a cutscene in a game, it'll do it for you if it tracks.
For that, you would need to create a sequence, which is another type of asset.
Right.
And in that, I can show you what that looks like. So if you want to do that, you would actually just...
I guess it'd be easier to like probably manually do it, right?
Well, you need to have something that will accept those keyframes, right? So if I were to make a level sequence, I'll just call this test.
So because this is like gaming, there's no default. They don't just come with like a timeline and like a sequence in a timeline. You kind of have to like add it, which is pretty cool.
Not alone, because you actually are creating a timeline. So when you make a sequence, you actually now have a timeline here.
Yep.
And so if you wanted to like make something where it's like, well, we want the camera to like pan from here to there.
Exactly.
So what I would do then is I would add the Cinecamera actor. And so now it actually has gone to the viewport because it's possessing the camera by default. And so now it's like, we'll keyframe this, right? Go here, and then if we wanted to make it like, let's say we move here.
I'm about to say all values, right?
Yeah. And you have an auto keyframe function as well. So if you wanted to like go here, key all, is it that one? This one, sorry. So that automatically creates a keyframe every time you move the camera, right? So now you have a sequence that goes from left to right, and you can pre-program those moves. And then similar to like how you would do it in Premiere, you have the option to change your frame rate. So if you want to go to 2396, but you also have the ability to add some speed ramps.
Speed ramp, yeah.
So if you want to like go here, you could go to the graph editor.
Oh, nice. Yeah, same shit.
Yeah, exactly. And so now it shows like where your camera is, and I don't know where there it is. So now it's showing the curve, right? So you can like adjust the handle. So if you want like more of an ease out,
exactly,
that's how you do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So this should feel pretty familiar. It's not as I would say one-to-one as like something like an editing software, but like that's how you would do it. And then how they would load the cutscenes is they would actually have a node in the blueprint that says open level sequence. And so it'll have these pre-programmed, that's like, think of those as Premiere sequences, and then the moment that the character, like let's say, steps in the room, cue like level sequence, and it'll play the cutscene.
Like a script.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah, so that's kind of how you would do it.
That's dope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like you said, it's not one-to-one, but it's like I can see elements of other softwares or applications I've used where it's like, okay. Like,
exactly, yeah. That's really all it is, man. Like Unreal is refreshingly simple because, unlike Blender, for like a lot of people, like because Blender is so unique, you kind of need to learn all the different hotkeys and stuff. But here, it's like it's pretty similar. Like if I ever want to go like JKL, it's very much like integrated there. Or if I wanted to like make an in-out point, it's the same process where you could like mark your active area, right? So they're getting better. I would say a few years ago it wasn't this way at all.
So this is like the updated versions have been a lot more,
100%. So the reason why I was saying like the motion design tool has been getting really cool is because you can actually import PSD into it. So what that allows you to do is like if you have like a bunch of different graphics, it actually has this really cool thing where you can like load the PSD and then it'll treat all those individual layers and then you can offset them. So you have that different parallax effect, which is really nice.
How they do like art installations.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Photoshop integration, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Just with Photoshop though, they don't do any like Premiere.
Not yet. They want to do Illustrator next, is what I heard. Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I thought it was going to be like After Effects or something.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Okay. Michaela said she was tired and she wanted to go home.
No, that makes sense.
Which is a funny
Totally
way to just be
valid.
like, hey, I'm out for the day. She goes, can I go? I'm like really tired. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I felt bad for like including. I'm like, I wonder if she's getting anything out of this.
Look, I think it's good for. I mean, dude, people pay fucking hella bread to get trained in this stuff.
That's true.
So this computer is running Unreal.
That computer is running Unreal. I'll get you out of the. I was showing Jermaine, you could actually make like little sequences. So if you ever want.
Oh, you could have like a timeline inside Unreal.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you make like your cutscenes. So if you ever had like a character like walking and the camera's like following them, this is how you would do it.
Whoa,
So,
the
pretty sick.
sequencer.
Sequencer. There you go.
Perspective view. All right, let's add a car. Okay, so this is how I pan. Oh, I can actually cruise right on through here.
You can.
Okay, let's go over here a little bit. Take a look at our set.
You gonna throw a car in there?
I want to.
I can show you how.
Okay, tell me what to do.
All right, so car won't be featured in your starter content, but
Oh,
you
it's
can-
exclusive shit.
You can get into the marketplace, and this is how I've been like designing the sets. So you
Okay.
go to window and then click Fab.
That's a marketplace?
That's the marketplace. Yeah.
And they got free shit?
Yep. So you go here, and then that takes you to Unreal's marketplace. Obviously, some aren't free, but if you type in car, let's see. If you
Type in
free
truck.
one.
Type in truck.
Type in truck. Yeah.
He wants a pickup, a GMC.
A GM
So let's see.
Oh, put a fucking banger.
Yeah, brother.
Oh my god, what do we
So
got?
these are all of your free ones.
Okay, let me scroll through my free
Dude,
market.
fire truck.
Dude, Paw Patrol.
Vehicle.
I gotta have some.
Yo, can you throw like a fighter jet in there?
Yeah, if it's
Can
on
we
there.
make it fly? Okay, now I found it. I want it.
Okay, so now I click Add to Project. And
No
so-
way, it's really just gonna do that?
Yep, and then you just add it. You've now added it into your content browser, and so if you remember how to get to there, so
Okay, let me get back here. Content browser. Which one do I want to be in?
you're actually correct. You just have to undock it, so you would do Control Space, or you could hit that bottom left corner next to that weather icon, where it says Content Drawer. There you go. And so now that's the folder that has your thing. And so if you go to let's see what it is, static meshes. So that's what you want to drag into your scene.
Whoa, buddy!
There you go. So now you've dragged your asset into the level.
Dude,
Look at that truck.
look at that freaking truck, bro. Okay, so I noticed too that like it's not like you can scroll in a direction. It's only as far as you're actually moving your mouse.
Well, you can. So if you use the scroll wheel, you can actually zoom in and out.
Oh yeah.
But the other way too is if you right click and then press WASD, it'll be like you're walking in the scene.
Woo boy! And then this is now still my perspective. Oh, it's like a video game.
This is the video game builder, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, that thing looks fucking sweet, dude.
Yep.
So now, if I wanted to be a psycho, how come what am I seeing? What is this yellow like outline?
That's the
You
that's
click
the
the
border
border
line.
so the yellow outline will show you what's your active.
And now I can
Get
move this
out.
guy around. Go through there.
Let's go next.
Let's go. Are you leaving?
I'm reading.
Bro, check this out real quick. Dude, look at my shit, dude.
Yeah.
Flying around the.
Okay.
Yeah. Give the hydraulics. Give the one.
Yeah. Say, what?
Low rider. Damn, that's the low poly.
Yep.
Who said that? Who knows that?
That's the low poly.
How do you know about the low poly?
Bro, come on.
Oh, 'cause you're reading
You don't
it.
know about the low poly?
Wait, so now if I wanted to, I could click into this and I could change the texture?
Let's see. So if you go, so see how it
That's
says
ambitious.
material on the bottom. So it's in your. That's called the details panel, where it says details. On the-
Materials, I see it.
Yep. So if you double click that icon where it has a sphere. So now that's your material, and if you expand any of those top menus, it should have like a way for you. Yeah. Okay. So if you go to, let's see what it says. You go to, I think it's base color factor. If you tick that, and then now you should have the ability to like add influence the color. So if you click the white box, there you go. So now you can make it like red. It's kind of a hacky way of doing it. I wouldn't do it this way. I would just retexture the object completely and like, in a different software. But this is like a hack way of like, because you'll notice that like the headlights and the paint, they're all like on the same material.
Oh,
right?
so now, okay, now how do I get back to my other dang view?
So you can close that. You could just close the X on the top because it's a separate window. So if you,
Oh, up there. This?
yeah.
Goodbye.
There you go.
Oh, that's kind of a cool color.
Yeah,
dude,
so-
I'm not gonna lie.
So you've changed the color of the truck, but you see how like you've also changed or influenced the interior. So now
Yeah.
it's red as well. So
Peanut butter inside, dude.
yeah.
Would you guys drive that thing? That thing looks fucking tight.
I tried it.
Bro, you would drive the low poly. Do not fucking lie. Dude. Wait, so if I wanted to make it like metallic and reflective.
So you would click that material again.
Okay, back in materials.
Except you've now clicked
Whoa.
the sky
Whoa.
dome. So now you're
Let's
in
get
the
the fuck
wrong
out.
one. So make
This
sure you
one.
click the truck. Yep. Okay. And then if you see where it says metallic roughness.
Oh, I do.
All right. Let's see. Metallic factor. Yeah. So click those. The higher the number, the more metallic your object will be, and you can actually go beyond 1. So if you want to type in like 50.
Say no more, fam. Give me that shiny, John. How was that doing anything?
So that no, it did do something.
Oh.
And now what you want to do is click the roughness factor, and now click. You want to go less. So go like 0.5. Yeah. So see how now
yeah,
it's
she getting
reflected?
shiny now. Okay, but still, it has to do with the fact that it's like the texture that came with the asset itself. It's not like, even if I lower the roughness oh, dude, look at the reflection. That's a patina, boys.
So what essentially what you're doing is you're increasing the overall roughness and metallic of the entire thing. So if you wanted to have specific like areas of your truck, like let's say the grill, and you want that to be shiny, you would essentially import a texture that tells the material, I only want the grill to be shiny. And so that's why I think it's above those 2 slider values, you have an image, and that's actually dictating
This, right?
So that one is your color, but then there's one
Damn.
other one below that that's like sort
It's
of
the
red
car?
greenish.
Yeah, was that just an image of the car unfolded?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was trying to show you with the
yeah,
box.
with the box, yeah.
So now that's just affecting the color, but if you go to the one below that, where it's like kind of crazy looking, so all of the pink areas, that's your shiniest elements, and then anything that's going to be like green. And I could be wrong in like the certain colors, but like that's kind of how you dictate like, oh, the grill is going to be like more shiny than let's say like the body paint, right?
Let's see where we came out with the color. Oh, she's shiny.
Okay. Oh, man.
Oh, whoa, dude.
Yep.
Damn, that's really detailed. Oh, I'm in it. I'm in the
There's no
truck.
engine?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wait, is there no?
It's actually
There's,
very detailed. I was not expecting it to be.
there's no engine. Bro, I'm just gonna hang out in here. Wow, dude, it's really
Damn.
detailed.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
What do we got around
Go for the
here?
exhaust pipe.
You want to add some truck nuts to it?
Yeah, dude, add some truck nuts to it. Wait, click out of that. Click out of that too. I don't want to see it. Oh, we're in the. Yeah, dude, that's pretty damn detailed. So somebody made this for free?
Yeah. Or at least they've
Love of
made
the
it
game,
and
bro.
now they sell it for free. So
just for the love of the game.
We're going inside the exhaust. Is it hollow?
Yeah, it's gonna be exhaust pipe.
It is hollow, bro. That's crazy.
Alright, they said, alright, I get into
All right, who wants to fucking do something? Somebody put something cool in the truck. In
Bro,
the
I
truck
got you.
bed.
Lucas.
Bro. I've been waiting for this moment.
You been waiting for this moment?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Mad Max
Don't worry about it.
old asset, which I got.
Let me lock in.
Okay. You're up, dude. That's tight, bro.
you get to
Oh my god, was that a camera?
But you're good.
It's recording?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
No, you're fine, dude. I just caught it. Like so.
Funniest instructional video.
You could literally make anything.
Yeah.
You
In
could
theory.
make, you could just whatever you dreamed up.
Yeah.
And if the mesh didn't exist on a marketplace and you were good enough, you could make it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Can you scan a real life object and turn it into a mesh? Yes, right?
You can. It just requires a lot of cleanup. So you can like scan it, but it won't be
Perfect.
optimized. It might be a lot of detail for like one.
So it'll cut a lot of the legwork out, and then you just spend that time optimizing and cleaning up that mesh.
I wouldn't say cuts the legwork out. I would
Okay.
say if anything, it adds more.
Oh, I
but
see.
but what you get is like something that's like uniquely detailed or appropriate to that. The other thing that's cool about a scan though is that like you can make like an entire building instead of like an object, right? So like if I was to model this chair, right? This would be a lot easier to model than like scanning because it's so simple.
It's so
like,
simple.
Yeah, but if I were to want to like do the whole building of like Prince Street,
You'd go in with one of those fucking crazy industrial scanners, right?
Yeah, I might even go with the drone.
Yo, I don't think
you
it
know?
fits.
So.
Dude! Make it smaller, bro. Put it in the back. Wait, can we make that fly across the screen?
You can keyframe it the same way that I showed you with the camera.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Do some keyframing, bro. How come it's not like rendering the...
It might be a weird like material thing.
Did I
can
download
definitely
a
see that.
shitty fighter jet?
You might have.
Believe it, bro. The free fighter jet. Not nearly as detailed.
How do I delete it?
You press delete.
Oh,
Yeah, it
later.
doesn't look as.
I don't want to look at that. Let me get a new one.
Shout out Free Little Poly,
You
dude.
know,
Yeah.
the mint green.
Window Fab.
Cop the USSR Soviet.
Yeah. There's a lot. Obviously, this is like very like I'm not showing you guys the optimization process, right? So like there would be a lot to like make this really polished, but this is just like a very quick and dirty. Like it's pretty. You can make a scene pretty fast, like by like just dragging stuff from the marketplace, right?
Not bad.
So
Some of the stuff I'm trying to mix into a little project.
yeah, dude.
Some you know, some
What does low poly mean? Like low quality?
Yeah, low poly. So
quality.
everything is basically a square, right? If you think about it. So if
Yeah.
you want to have like a sphere, the sphere is really just a number of tiles, like square tiles put together. So when they say low poly, what they mean is like the lowest amount of polygons needed to complete the surface. But obviously you'll start seeing those like jagged edges. So to make things smooth, you want
This
to add...
does not look low poly.
No, it's low poly.
Whoa.
It is low. So like see how like the curvature of like those
Oh, I
beams?
get it.
You get it what I'm saying? So like if
Yeah.
there was more polygons, that would be like more smooth.
Bro, you might have to shrink the bridge down a little.
Isn't the I'm trying to remember.
How do I do
the
that?
service polygon?
Here.
An eye. Well, like,
Scale.
I don't think it's 3.
Wait.
Yep, bring her down now.
So you're scaling in one direction.
You're making it skinny.
Yeah. So if you want to scale the whole thing, you would actually just click and drag from the white dot.
Okay.
Well, polygon is textures. Yeah, I'm gonna say I knew I used to use some marketplace called Polygon.
The white one?
The white one, yeah. So go to the center. Yeah, there you go. Oh, you're on move mode though. So go to scale mode, which is the S button on your keyboard. Sorry. So W. So
I hit S.
you hit S.
You broke it.
You're still on move. I'm sorry, R button. Not S button. There you go. Okay, so now if you go to the center,
Oh, yeah, dude.
Tall bridge.
He said tall bridge.
Little bridge.
But you're still only scaling it one direction.
yeah, you guys. So you gotta make
Really
sure
get
that
on
everything's
the right
highlighted.
button.
We're having too much fun with this bridge.
There you go. Now you're scaling it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see how like it's the step is increased, so that's where you would change it up top. So see how it says 0.25 right here.
Yeah.
So you're changing it 25%. So I would go like click that and then go something smaller.
Lucas, where the bridge?
Okay. Hold on, let me bring the bridge back. Wait.
The truck ain't gonna drive over nothing.
Uh-oh.
You're good. The bridge you just scaled the bridge so small that you can't see it anymore. So
Alright. Wait, it was R to go into scale mode?
yeah. So now if you scale it up again, so just click and drag it in any direction.
Let me just...
Yeah, just type in 1 for each. There we go. Okay, so now if you go, instead of scaling at 25%, let's click that number. And then let's go to like 0.06. And then now if you scale it, there you go. So now you have a lot more control.
Okay. Is this the Manhattan Bridge?
Yeah.
Too much going. I just be.
Yo, wait. Wait. I have an idea.
Make sure you put the toll at the end too.
Wait. Let me cut. What do I do to get it back off of scale to move?
Go to W. So W is your move, E is rotate, R is scale. Nice.
Put the easy pass joint right at the end too. Not easy pass. It's a scanner.
Oh my god, I'm so bad at the movement. Hold on.
You're good.
Alright, let me just take this guy. Hey Mac.
Yeah. Oh, he done it.
Car on the
He
bridge.
done
I don't think
it.
you're clearing the.
Well, you gotta make my truck smaller now, bro. It ain't gonna fit.
Yeah, that's a large ass truck, dude.
It's too big.
And where's the rope? Like where?
So then I go R.
Yep.
Whoa, wait, hold on.
You're squishing it. So
Yeah, I got you.
You got it. You're asking about the rope. Why is it flipping like that?
What?
Were you asking about the road?
the road.
Oh, the road. This one doesn't have a texture on
Ah.
it, so
Oh yeah.
that's why it's like just gray. I've actually used this acid before.
Yeah,
I recognize this acid very much.
The
Yeah.
bridge?
Yes. Yeah.
What you doing with my bridge, bro?
We were trying to do like a Brooklyn Navy Yard scene, so they had to have Manhattan Bridge in the back.
Look at that thing shimmering like.
Shimmer, baby.
What is it? Sunsetting?
Make the wind blow. Can you
Make the wind blow.
You got a tree, or is that not necessarily like a wind setting as much as it would be like an animated mesh?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah. There are trees that have that function built in, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to MSG. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna be like, what?
I am going. I'm going like 36th and 9th.
Jesus, you better be in the heart.
Is that a bad idea?
Probably. Or it's gonna be really fun. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, it's gonna suck. I have to be back at work tomorrow.
It's gonna be one of those videos you get bored.
Okay.
90%.
Am I certified now?
You are certified, bro. You are absolutely.
Is that the camera? I'm crying. I was like, why is it?
Yes.
It's this camera. Oh.
Guys, I had a really genius idea.
What's that?
Since there's a fire drill from 10 to 11 tomorrow, I'm coming in at 11.
There's a fire drill?
Yeah.
What? What's going on around here this week? Is
That's
everything
wild.
okay? Like,
No, dude.
why are we doing so much? Like,
Because they know something's coming, and they're not telling us.
we just had a. Didn't we have a fire drill? Like, I'm just so confused.
Do you want to bring something from Fab? Try it out.
Dude, bro. You got this.
What am I doing?
You're going to Fab. Go to window.
Hey,
Nope.
hey.
Hey.
Rushing the process. Wait, so.
You're good. You just so you want to go to the window tab here,
Oh, bugging. I'm not even right. I'm a lefty, you know.
and then if you click Fab, there you go. So that brings up the marketplace asset. So if you go here, we have stuff already in the library, or you can search up something that's free.
Let's see what we have. Oh, it's $45. Everything costs money. Where's the free stuff?
So if you go to price,
Yeah.
and then click only show free products. That's all just on my wish list.
Right.
If you go in the library,
Oh, I'm bugging.
and then same thing, go to. Well, we purchased all of these, so you
Oh,
can
okay.
use any of these.
So many. This is gonna be the oddest scene. Yeah. Are you crazy? Are you dumb? We're gonna bring in a Brooklyn. It's definitely Manhattan.
Bring in another bridge?
Is that a bridge? No.
No, I think
We're doing a block. We're building a block.
You're building a whole city
So you
block?
have to go to content drawer.
We're doing your neighborhood.
My neighborhood?
And then
You think they have my house in this?
I think it's let's see.
They actually might.
Might be
Brian,
this
how
one.
long would it take a
That.
professional to build like a one-to-one
Sorry
version
about
of
that.
my home?
Well,
Like
how
with-
big is your house? If you
With
scroll
like
down
the
here, sorry.
objects in it and stuff.
Oh, scroll up again. Sorry. Okay, let me see. Sometimes Fab is weird. You want to do like a one-to-one with like even your garage and stuff like that?
You don't want people having that blueprint, brother.
I'm not giving it to people, bro.
It belongs to Unreal, man.
No, it belongs to me, man.
Okay. So there's some issues with this one for some reason.
Okay, I tried. Sorry, they didn't want to do it. Block.
You're good.
They hate
Oh,
it.
here we go.
They
Here
hate
we
my
go.
block.
They hate it.
So
Oh, wait, it worked.
it worked, but it only brought in the materials for some reason.
Wait, it didn't bring in the mesh?
No, for some reason.
You need the mesh.
We do need the mesh.
Take a picture.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. It just
Oh my
looks a little
lord.
bit funky.
Whoa.
That's the block.
That's the block.
Oh, the block is